Hey guys, it's Melissa. Welcome to Tuesday's edition of MomTalkTV. This is going to be a really casual video from me. I'm just not feeling that well today, and this is a good chance for me to talk about this week's topic because of my feelings and emotions today. This is a very difficult topic for me to talk about, but I feel that it's important to discuss, and it's important that other women be made to feel like they're not alone. I have not talked about this very much on my personal channel, so I think I will upload this on my personal channel as well. So if you are watching this on my channel, then subscribe to MomTalkTV because we're cool. But yeah, very casual video. I'm in my PJs. Ellie's taking a nap. She is going on 3 hours now, so she could wake up any minute, so I'm just going to get right into it. The topic this week that the girls are discussing is parenting challenges. And while I haven't really had an opportunity to face any real challenges with parenting, Ellie is only 6 months old, I do struggle with two things that I've been dealing with since she's been born. One that is completely, I'm gonna say, life-changing is my low iron, and that really sucks. I had an iron deficiency when I was pregnant, and then I became anemic because of blood loss after I had her. So anemic from blood loss and an iron deficiency. It's just really changed how I am as a person. I have no energy. I don't do anything other than the bare minimum to keep me and my husband and my daughter going. Like, I used to love cooking, and I don't have any energy to do the baking and the cooking that I used to anymore. Like, every now and then I will have these little spurts of energy, which is so nice, and I had it over the weekend and I took advantage of it big time, and I got back into my love of baking, and I've been feeling good lately. I don't know what's changed, but the problem is my body is not absorbing iron anymore, and I don't know why. I take so much iron as it is, and it doesn't matter what I eat, what I take. The blood work shows that it has no effect on my iron. So I have more blood work coming up, and hopefully some iron infusions. I just don't know. I don't know what else they're gonna do other than infusion. Now, having low iron and feeling, like such a lack of energy, and you don't want to do anything other than the bare minimum, and I just feel like I cannot be the mother that Ellie deserves and needs, and I can't be the wife that my husband deserves. And that kind of falls in with the second thing that I'm dealing with, which is postpartum depression. And I have been reluctant to put a label on it. I've often called it extended baby blues. It definitely has not been as severe as it was for the first 3 months of her life, maybe 4 months. It was really bad in the very beginning months, and I have been I guess I've been reluctant to put a title on it because, I suffered with infertility for 7.5 years, and you never expect, when you're dealing with infertility, all you want is a baby, all you want is a family. You just never expect to have this overwhelming sadness once your baby comes into your life. It's like, what? Where's this coming from? And I think for me, what brought it on was the recovery from my C-section. It was a nightmare. Recovering from major surgery can be a nightmare. But I had severe childbirth complications. And it was thought for a week or so that I might lose my uterus. That was really hard to take. I was separated from my husband and child when Ellie was 22 days old. I was taken to the hospital by ambulance. I don't remember much of that night. I just remember waking up in the emergency room, and I don't want to relive that night just yet, but it was bad. It was really bad. So I had a really, really rough recovery. I feel like I didn't get to bond with my baby. I was totally not going to cry doing this, but I'm really putting myself out there, and I'm opening myself up, and I'm in a really vulnerable point talking about this. So if you're going to leave feedback, I hope that it's with kind words. But I didn't get to bond with Ellie the way that I had dreamed. I always dreamed of having a baby put on my chest after I gave birth to her vaginally, and clearly that didn't happen. I felt like I just gave up. But anyway, so with everything happening, of course, breastfeeding did not work out. There was just no way. And Ellie developed nipple confusion, which sucked. So I just felt sad all the time for the loss of the breastfeeding relationship that could have been but wasn't. Something I really, really wanted to do. Also, Ellie had horrible acid reflux. I think hers is what you would classify a silent reflux. She was very difficult to burp. She spit up all the time. She was on like the borderline of colicky. She was just in a lot of pain, and with my hormones all over the place, it was just really, honestly, it was so hard for me to deal with. And I'm thankful that my mom was there for the first 4 weeks of Ellie's life, and I'm ashamed to say that I couldn't look after my own daughter for the first 4 weeks of her life because of how horrible my recovery was, how horrible my hormones were, just how all over the place that I was. Also when I had Ellie, I had lost so much blood, and I was so ridiculously weak that I couldn't look after her for the first 3 days of her life either, except for feedings. I was only holding her when she needed to be fed, and we had some skin to skin time, but I couldn't bond with her the way that I wanted. And of course it makes me sad. Shortly after we brought Ellie home, I was just, my feelings and emotions were so out of control. that I started having thoughts about placing her for adoption. And that was only because I felt that she deserved better. It's really hard to say that. It's really hard to admit that. But I was only thinking of love for her. It's not that I didn't love her. It's not that I didn't want her. I was just thinking, like, what business did I have bringing her into this world if I can't even look after her? I can't be strong enough to look after her. And I mean, like, physically strong enough. I just couldn't. So I had to come to terms with how I was feeling, and I had to take it hour by hour, day by day. And you know, it wasn't long before I could get a little bit more energy and start feeling a little bit better, and I could do things on my own. And I had moments of just pure frustration because she would cry and I wouldn't know what was wrong with her. That was the acid reflux. She was diagnosed on September the 11th, and so she was born July 18th, so up until then she was just a miserable baby, and in turn I was a miserable mother. We cried all the time. Allie and I had parts in our day where we would just cry together. Finally, though, she did get on some Zantac and she started feeling better, and I started getting more confidence. And I still have moments where I have doubt, as I'm sure every mother has doubt, and I still have moments of sadness when I talk about my recovery and our bonding and the breastfeeding journey that never was. And I tried everything I could to relactate, and I was successful with relactation with the help of a double breast pump and a prescription of domperidone and fenugreek, oatmeal, lactation cookies. I relactated. I was so flippin' happy, but she wouldn't latch. So I pumped for a while, but pumping wears you out like crazy, and it didn't work for me. That's another thing that I'm ashamed of, if you will. It's really hard for me to come to terms with how things went, because I always had this image in my head, and I think that's why it's so hard for me to admit that I had postpartum depression, and I still struggle with it because I suffered with infertility for 7.5 years. It's just not something that you think that you're going to deal with. It's all you want is a baby. You don't think you're going to be so upset over it when she finally comes. But that was my reality for a while. Thankfully, I've had nothing but good days for the past month and a half, maybe. Excuse me. We've had really good days. I'm starting very, very slowly to feel a little bit more energized. Try to get out for walks and get some fresh air even. I try to do things that matter to me, like vlogging or cooking and playing with Ellie, of course. But I try very hard to have nothing but good days. And I find unless it's a trigger that, you know, that will set me off, like the topic of formula feeding versus breastfeeding, and how some people just make formula feeding mothers feel like shit, or how awesome somebody else's recovery was after they had their baby versus mine. It just, you don't want to compare, but it happens. And when I think about it, it just like really sucks. So anyways, so it's just, it's still day by day, but things are definitely a lot better. I'm definitely feeling a lot more confident in my parenting. There are certain things that I'm 100% confident on. I know that I didn't have a choice in the matter on how things went. So I'm feeling good about certain decisions, and it's a learning process with the other ones. You got to take it slow. So anyways, excuse my crying and excuse my pajamas and excuse my messy hair. But yeah, that was this week's topic. Please subscribe if you haven't already, and I look forward to talking with you guys next week. Bye.